Joe Kent is a candidate for the U.S. Congress in Washington State's 3rd District and a retired Green Beret Chief Warrant Officer 3. Joe, as a special operator, you spent a lot of time in the Middle East. What was your reaction to the attack in Jordan that killed 3 of our troops? How could this have happened?
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely tragic, and I get a sick feeling in my stomach whenever we lose soldiers overseas. I mean, especially in a situation like this that was completely predictable. That our troops have been under fire and attacked over 150 times, 160 times. It's hard to get straight answers just since October 7th, and a lot of us have been saying for many years now, since the counter ISIS operations concluded, that we need to get out of Iraq, we need to get out of Syria and these other remote border locations like the one that was attacked in the tri-border region there in Jordan, because really our troops are just sitting ducks for Iranian-backed militias to attack. And one of the craziest things, when Joe Biden says that Iranian-backed militants operating from Iraq and Syria were the ones that conducted this attack, people need to understand that those militias, those militants, are funded, trained, and equipped by the government of Iraq, which is funded, trained, and equipped by the U.S. taxpayer. So not only was this completely and totally tragic and avoidable and predictable, it's also absolutely absurd. And every American taxpayer should be absolutely furious about this situation that we've put ourselves in the Middle East.
What should the Biden administration do in response to these attacks and to deter further attacks against our U.S. troops there?
Yeah, it's a precarious situation because, on one hand, we do need to retaliate. We can't let Americans be killed and not respond to that. However, how we respond and how we posture our troops in the region going forward is going to be absolutely critical. Look, the longer that we leave our troops in these vulnerable locations, we are playing directly into Iran's hands. Never fight your enemy according to their strength and according to their terms. But that's what we're doing here. Iran fights by proxy, whether it's Iranian-backed militias in Iraq and Syria, the Houthis, Hezbollah, Hamas. This is how these guys fight. And in order for proxies to be effective, they need proximity to their targets. So by us leaving these small scattered outposts and even the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad within their range, we're playing directly to their hands. So I've been advocating for quite a while, let's get our troops out of there. Let the Iranians declare victory and say, oh, we drove America out. Let them have that temporary victory. And then once our forces are out, away from striking distance, then we can strike back against Iranian Quds Force officers, their special operators, and against Iranian proxy groups in Iraq and in Syria. I'm 100% against striking the Iranian mainland because that also, believe it or not, plays directly into the hands of the Ayatollah. Iran has domestic issues right now. That's a relatively new government, only been in power since 1979. The Iranian people aren't happy under the Ayatollah. But if we just go and do, Iraq War 2.0 in Iran and start bombing the Iranian regime on Iranian soil, that's just going to rally the Iranian people around the Ayatollah. Something else that needs to happen, and this goes back to the issues with October 7th, Biden is giving Iran access to billions of dollars. He unfroze the $6 billion in oil revenue, gave that directly to Iran, and we continue to fund to the tune of billions of dollars a year the government of Iraq that Iran directly controls. Qatar is another major issue. The fact that Biden made us less energy independent, he killed off our energy production, that puts money in the pockets of OPEC, puts money in the pockets of Iran, of Qatar. Just the other day, Biden froze LNG sales in a lot of ports in Texas and Louisiana. The number one exporter of LNG other than the United States is Iran, Qatar, and Russia. So we've got to get smart economically and diplomatically, but we've also got to focus too on where our threats are. Iran fights by proxies. Their proxies have definitely infiltrated our wide open southern border. The American people should be outraged about all of this, but especially considering the fact that we just lost troops defending the Syria, Jordan, Iraq border, but we can't secure our own border. Iran has most certainly already penetrated our border. So we've got to get serious about securing our border and starting to track down, locate, and deport all the people that have penetrated our borders.
You're running against a leftist Democrat in Washington. How would you grade her track record on foreign policy so far?
So my opponent, Marie Perez, she ran on the campaign trail as a moderate, but now that she's in Congress, no matter what topic you're talking about, she's voted in lockstep with the Democrats. And national security, tragically, is no different. Marie Perez voted to leave our troops in Iraq and in Syria and to continue these combat operations that were being supported by this outpost in Jordan. She voted to leave them there. And then she also voted against giving Israel any kind of funding or support while they were attempting to locate American hostages taken by Hamas. She fully supports Biden's agenda of giving Iran untold billions and billions of dollars, while at the same time voting to leave our southern border wide open in lockstep with the most radical wing of the Democrat Party. She refuses to secure our southern border while fentanyl kills hundreds of our citizens here in Washington state, killed over 118,000 American citizens in the country. So she is absolutely incapable of defending the country. I mean, look, Congress has a lot of responsibilities when it comes to national security. She does not understand national security, and she is voting exactly how she's told by the Democrat Party. And the Democrat Party basically prioritizes the security and sovereignty of every other country other than the United States of America. And the Democrats have become the new warmongers. They want to leave our troops exposed all throughout the Middle East, just waiting for us to get into a shooting war with Iran, or, to send billions and billions more to Ukraine. But the last thing they ever want to do is actually secure our border. So she has utterly failed on everything, but most importantly, when it comes to securing our district and securing our country.